Proverbs 25:19. Confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. And Lord said not to put your confidence in a guy, not to trust in a friend. Every brother will utterly supplant. Keep the doors of your mouth from her that lieth in thy bosom. Because we're in a very untrustworthy, unfaithful time. And you can't put your faith in man. You can't put your faith in the camp. You see, you can't put your faith in your own heart, your own way, what you think. And even the whole concept and definition of what faith is the evidence of things not seen, of things hopeful. So what the vast majority of our people, even guys in this truth, they put their faith in things that they can carnally see with their carnal eye, when the Lord said, lean not unto your own understanding. You see, and going into how, they strain at a gnat. They strain at a gnat, man. All the little things they do, and they make it like it's the main objective and it's the main point in this truth. They actually injure themselves and they harm others. That's why the Lord said they make them twofold children of hell. They make matters even worse. Because a foot out of joint makes it that what? You're going to be having a limp. You're not going to be able to walk straight in the spirit. And a tooth broken means what? You're not going to be able to eat of the spiritual meat. You're not going to be able to divide it rightfully and consume it and eat it properly. A lot of guys are choking at the word. This is what's happening right now. Second Chronicles 28:20. And Tilgath-Pilneser, king of Assyria, came unto him, and distressed him, but strengthened him not. For Ahaz took away a portion out of the house of the Lord, and out of the house of the king, and out of the princes, and gave it unto the king of Assyria, but he helped him not. So here is this king of Israel, Ahaz. He gave so much to the king of Assyria, but he didn't help him. And that's what's happening. A lot of guys, they've given certain camps and elders and just in general, they'll give people so much of their money, resources, time, energy, and attention. But in the end all be all, they didn't help you in any aspect, man. They can't even help themselves. The only thing they're helping themselves is to the cake of this world. That birthday spirit, all about them. And that's what a lot of guys push. They teach their own selves, man. You see? Job 6:14. To him that is afflicted, pity shall be showed from his friend, but he forsaketh the fear of the Almighty. My brethren have dealt deceitfully as a brook, and as a stream of brooks they pass away. So a lot of guys are passing away in their own folly. They're perishing in their own corruptness, in their own pride. It says, which are blackish by reason of the ice, because the love of many is waxing cold, and where the snow is hid. With time they wax warm, right? Lukewarm. They wax worse and worse. They vanish. When it is hot, they are consumed out of their place. See, so they have a place here. They have a position here. That's why they wouldn't confess Yahushua ultimately and entirely, because they don't want to leave their seat, lose their seat in their place. It says the paths of their way are turned aside. They go to nothing and perish. See, they go to nothing and perish. And that's what guys are going to. They're going to Japheth. They're going into topics that are nothing. They're straining at a gnat. By going into these insignificant matters, not the heavier matters, they're causing our people to err. They're not leading them to the Lord. Because Yahushua, he's all about the more important things. He didn't waste in time or going into folly, which folly saying great dignity. He was going into the deep things of God. Second Thessalonians 3:2, and that we may be delivered from unreasonable and wicked men, for all men have not faith. So the point being, bro, is not everyone that claims being a camp or claims to be in this truth with their mouth has faith. And this is who we have to be delivered from, man. Not just Esau and these heathens, but even more so our own nation, man. That Jerusalem that kills the prophets. The Lord said he's going to send scribes, wise men, teachers, apostles, prophets. And what the Lord say? Some of them you shall kill and persecute from city to city. So all this is taking place, and that's why the Lord said, don't put confidence in any of these certain things. Psalms 118 and verse 8, it's better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. So at this point, a lot of guys have totally gone haywire away from the word, and they're just speaking their own words. Proverbs 3:26, for the Lord shall be thy confidence and shall keep thy foot from being taken. You see? So the Lord said that he may run that readeth this. So you have to have your loins girt, your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel, and you have a shot. That you'll be able to run the spiritual race. And it's not given to the swift or the mighty. It's given to those that are patient and striving for undefiled rewards, right? Not seeking anything of this world, but seeking things of the heaven above. 2 Thessalonians 3 and 4, and we have confidence in the Lord touching you, that ye both do and will do the things which we command you, see? So Lord, he's touched us, man, and we're able to touch others also and heal others. You see how heavy that is, man? Heavy. Yeah, man, so all the satanic in that verse, you know, they put the little things above Yahushua, which is the main point, the big thing. And they put the big things, and they act like it's a little thing. They act like it's a light thing. You know, what we're saying, what we're doing. So you brothers just take heed and beware of it's like it. Just beware of when, you know, you see people do that, you know, because that was just something that was brought to my attention just recently when a lesson I learned. You know, they put the small things, the little things that like it's not really important, and they make a big deal out of that. Like it's the main point when it ain't nothing serious. Like vocab Malone, like woman, like which camp is greater? Like that shit's little. That's just a mosquito. You know, that's a gnat. But then here it is the camel, right? The big things needs to be brought out, needs to be broken down. You know, it has to be dissected, it has to be taken apart, you know, to see what's really wrong with it. You know, same thing with like a car, you know, if you don't know what's really wrong, you have to take everything apart and get down to whatever is ailing and injuring and not allowing the car or whatever to work and function properly, you see? So, Lord willing, you brothers got something out of that, you know, as I did. You brothers stay strong, and I'll see y'all on the SmackDown. Shalom. And right, so the greatest and most important thing about this truth is the two greatest commandments, which the Lord said that everything hangs on. You know, loving the Lord and loving your brother as yourself. And that's the main thing you have to stress, and you have to really bring out with force and exert. And by you doing that, you're not going to injure nothing or hurt nobody. You're actually going to heal people, you know, our people. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it all boils down to, is those two things. You know? And the Lord said if you keep the whole law and you offend in one, then guess what? You're guilty of all. So the main point is just keeping those, and then everything else follows, man. Because if you love the Lord, you're not gonna do things to upset Him. If you love your brother as yourself, you're not gonna do things that you wouldn't want done to you. You know what I'm saying? They call that the golden rule, and that's the Lord's making a man more precious than fine gold. That's the Lord who's gonna make a man more valuable than anything of this world in the time to come. This world is created for many, world to come for few. And that's what this thing's all for. It's all for the few. Only few that's being chosen. Hey, Shalom. All praises, glory, honor, and fear. Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushai, Waharakakadash. The belongs to elders, those that have the authority and still in the spirit. Citation election, the true real house of David. In the midst of these very troubling times, keeping your composure, keeping the word pure, undefiled, and actually defending the gospel, because that's what we're doing. We like it says in Proverbs, those that keep the law contend with those that don't. So we're actually fighting against the covenant breakers, the adulterers, the fornicators that have went against their head, have gone against our Father in heaven. You see, so there's a very, very subtle, behind the scenes, but very real war going on right now. And I want to focus on this precept because, just going through the motions in Babylon, this whore, and dealing with these demons, and primarily the wickedness of our nation. It actually opens up your eyes to more things of the scriptures and why are people the way they are, and why they act the way they act is because they have a very small mind. They have a very small spirit, a very immature, very weak nature about them. Now, we're going to go to Matthew 23, which guys they don't want to go into, but we go into where there's the least amount of men are, and that's the way you want to be in the straight gate, the position that's very difficult to do, and that's why a lot of guys don't bring out Matthew 23 and other certain touchy subjects. You see, because they haven't really been touched by the Lord, like Isaiah the prophets. The reason why they could teach with such power and authority and the Lord behind them and fulfilling what they were saying is because the Lord had touched them. You see, the Lord had touched their heart, their spirit. Like Isaiah, that the coals from off the altar of the Lord were touched his tongue and his mouth, and his words were then clean. So our words and our mouth is clean, and that's what we're dealing with. Those that have not slipped with the tongue, and the virgins in whose mouth is no guile. Now this is Matthew 23 in verse 24. It says, "Ye blind guides, which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel." Now I got that word for strain. I want to get that first because a gnat is like a fly. It's a very small thing. Matter of fact, let me just get the definition of a gnat first. Really break this down, really look into this, because this is a characteristic of the wickedness of our nation, of our people. Even amongst this truth, even amongst camps, guys have this spirit. Right, and now it's going into a mosquito. All right, a mosquito, a very small thing. So the blind guides, right, which they're not keeping the law, and that's our guide. Our guide is keeping the word. Our guide is keeping the word and walking, because the law is a lamp to our feet, and the elect in these last days wear lamps in these dark places, because we're actually walking in the ways of our forefathers, establishing judgment in the gate, destroying those that make covenants with the Gentiles, just like the Maccabees were. But we're doing that all through the Spirit now, through the Word. All right, so this is 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 75. It says, I'll start with 74. It says, "Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand." And, I was watching this video clip in China, bro. You have the Moabites dying, getting killed, and there's some heavy floods. You had these Moabites in a train, and it was almost all goddamn underwater. Anyway, it says, "Behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. Be not afraid, neither doubt." You see, don't be like the sinners in Zion. They're afraid. They're full of doubt. They're all full of questions. And how you know this? What's going on? You see, because the Spirit's not with them. Lord hasn't touched them. And their sin remaineth. And the wages of sin is death. It says, "Be ye not afraid, neither doubt. For God is your guide, and the guide of them who keep my commandments and precepts," not the precepts of men, not being taught the fear of the Lord through the precepts of men, because they're gonna guide you the wrong way, the blind guides, because they can't see where these scriptures is lining up at and what the Lord is saying right now in these last days. It says, "Saith the Lord God, let not your sins weigh you down, and let not your iniquities lift up themselves." Says, "Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins." So the reason why a lot of guys don't teach the way we do, like the disciples, the true men of the Lord, they spoke and taught with authority, not as the scribes. It's because these guys, their sins are bound. They're bound in their sins. It's like a straitjacket. Like you put a crazy person in a straitjacket, meaning he can't move. He can't hit nobody. He can't attack nobody. He's very limited in what he can do, and that's what a lot of guys in this truth have become. You're limited with the word. You can only go so far. Lord has set the bounds which you fakes and phonies can't get through. Reality is going to start to hit really hard in these last days, these last moments, and that's why the fake can't go any further. See, you can't bring your social media likes, your subscribers, and everyone loving you. For so do they the false prophet. You can't bring that deceitful spirit any further. It says, "And covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travel through." So you have to be paving the way for others. You know what I'm saying? You have to be that first fruit, doing the first actions. There might be a thick forest, and you have to be chopping down all them branches, all those weeds, all them tares that ain't of the Lord, just chopping them down, making the path for the others to follow. You see? It says, "And the path thereof covered with thorns, that no man may travel through." And that's what they've done. They shut up the kingdom of heaven, neither will they themselves go in. You see? It is left undressed, and is cast into the fire to be consumed therewith. So they don't even go in themselves, and they stop others from entering in too. 1 Thessalonians 1 and 6 says, "And ye became followers of us." See, not of our camp, but of what the Spirit that's upon us, the anointing that we have of the Lord. That's why Paul said, "What? Follow me even as I follow Yahushua." So it doesn't matter what men are saying out their mouth in these last moments, because everyone has a mouth. Everyone has opinions. But really, it's who's really walking the walk of Yahushua, being hated, being rejected, being despised, being spit upon. All this humiliation, all this hatred. It says, "And of the Lord, and ye became followers of us, and of the Lord, having received the word in much affliction." Our channel, our poor little us, our channel getting played with, playing with our view count and our likes, with joy of the Holy Ghost, so that ye were ensamples to all that believe in Macedonia and Achaia. For from you sounded out the word of the Lord, not only in Macedonia and Achaia, but also in every place your faith to Godward is spread abroad, so that we need not to speak anything. And that's heavy because, see, We're in the time now where like nothing else really needs to be said. See, everything has really been said at this point, which now we're in the time of action, straight judgment, man. Everything has basically been in its place. A lot of you guys, your mouths has justified you by what you're saying, because by your words you'll be justified, by your words be condemned. It says, it's like for 1 Thessalonians chapter 1 and verse 9, for they themselves show of us what manner of entering in we had unto you, and how ye turned to God from idols to serve the living and true power. And camps, elders, guys with thousands and thousands of subscribers, they can make themselves an idol. It's not just a wooden stick or a cross or the Mecca thing. It's not. It goes further and deeper than that. Like you had that show American Idol, right? Well, they were singers. They were singers, but they'd call them idols. Like if you have certain celebrities get interviewed, they'd be like, "Oh, who did you look up to when you were younger? Who was your idol?" And they'll say, "Oh, Muhammad Ali." Let's see. So you can make men and people your idol, and you can set them up in your mind above the Lord. You see, and that's what guys have done. And the true men of the Lord, whenever they would praise or try to be set up in a high place, they always rebuke that, and they'd actually tear their clothes. Like when the apostles, some people try to call them like Greek gods, you know, and they was like, "Man, don't do that, man. Are you crazy?" You know, and they rent their clothes, they rent their raiment. It says, and to wait for a son from heaven whom he raised from the dead, even Yahushua, which delivered us from the wrath to come. You see, so going back into the topic.
For our gospel.
It's like going back into the topic, all right, at the hand. Matthew 23 and 24. Ye blind guides, see, because they're not keeping the commandments. They're transgressing against commandment. They have hate for their brother. You see? Ye blind guides which strain at a gnat and swallow a camel. So now let's get that word for strain, all right? That word strain, it's heavy. It says, force a part of one's body or oneself to make a strenuous or unusually great effort. Here, now come back into point. It says, more heavy definitions. It says, here it is. Injure a limb, muscle, or organ by overexerting it or twisting it awkwardly. All right, meaning injure, hurt, damage, impair. Make a severe or excessive demands on. Pull or push forcibly at something. Stretch something tightly. All right. Here, coming to the point. All right. It says, here it is. Force tending to pull or stretch something to an extreme or damaging degree. It says, a state of tension or exhaustion resulting from severe demand on one's strength or resources. And that's what guys do, these false prophets. They cause you to have an state or tension or exhaustion resulting from severe demands on one's strength or resources. Give us all your money. You have to pay tithes. What else? You know, they, like the scriptures say, they in Matthew 23, they lay heavy burdens on men, but they don't even lift up one of their fingers to do what they say to do. You see? Hypocrites. All right? It says a severe or excessive demand on the strength, resources, or abilities of someone or something. You see? So they strain at a gnat. So they make big things out of little things that don't matter. Like you might, people might want to like kill you, right? They may try to set you up, but all these carnal men are looking at like, oh my gosh, you have a look at that little thing on your Nike shoes. You know, oh, there's a freaking something stepped on your, you know what I'm saying? They make a big deal out of small things. But then it says Matthew 23 and 24. Ye blind guys will strain at a gnat. You see, they force, they break, they make you to lose resources and energy with bringing out little things. that aren't really relevant, and swallow a camel. Now, meaning when they swallow a camel is like when it comes to the big things, they don't break it down for the sheep to be able to comprehend and digest it. They just swallow it down. Give me that, and just swallow it down. And it's heavy because when you look at a lizard or like a serpent, the way they eat, like an anaconda, right? They'll swallow a whole goat, man, and the goat will be in their belly. So a lot of guys have that serpent spirit, man, and that serpent doctrine. You see? So they do this, right? They strain at the small things, little things, but they omit the heavier things. And that word strain going into they're pulling something forcibly, and it making it awkward. They're causing it to be injured. You see, so that's what's happening, man, right now. And when you go to it's passing my mind right now, but Matthew 23 and verse 25. That's it there. So that's the point right there, man. So that's what we're dealing with. Guys that make big deals out of small things that aren't important. Like a perfect example, when the disciples, they was eating with unwashed hands, and the Pharisees and scribes were rebuking them. Oh, why did your disciples eat with unwashed hands? Those are just really commandments of men. And Lord had to put them in the place, like, man, it's not what goes into a man that defiles him, but what comes out of him, what you say, what's on the inside. Matthew 15 and 2. Why do the disciples transgress the tradition of the elders? For they wash not their hands when they eat bread. But he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commands of God by your tradition? You see? So by their traditions of men, they transgress the commandments of the Most High. And they've put their little commandments, right, the small gnats, commandments of men, right, above the commandments of the Lord, you see? All right, John 18 and verse 28. Then led they Yahushua from Caiaphas unto the hall of judgment, and it was early, and they themselves went not into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover, you see? But they weren't digesting and they weren't consuming the real Passover, Yahushua. They were rejecting Yahushua, but all about the carnal bread. You see? And that's what the Lord told us to do. And Esdras, 2 Esdras 8 and 4. So answered I and said, swallow then down, O my soul, understanding, and devour wisdom. For thou hast agreed to give ear, and art willing to prophesy, for thou hast no longer space than only to live. You see, so you got to understand this, man. And by us bringing out and actually breaking down the camel, right, the big things, the things that matter, we're not just swallowing down, we're actually like dividing it, because that's what we do. We divide the truth and righteousness. Just like when you're separating food to swallow it, because we have teeth, right? The Lord said he's going to make us a new sharp threshing instrument having teeth, being able to divide and conquer, divide the righteous from the wicked. Malachi 4 and 3, and ye shall tread down the wicked, and for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day that I shall do this, saith the Lord of hosts. So they're under us, man, through the spirit. In the carnal, they're over us. In the spirit, we're above them. Luke 6 and Luke 6 and verse 7. And the scribes and Pharisees watched him, whether he would heal on the Sabbath day, that they might find an accusation against him. But he knew their thoughts, and said to the man which had the withered hand, rise up and stand forth in the midst. And he arose and stood forth. Then said Yahushua unto them, I will ask you one thing. Is it lawful on the Sabbath days to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it? And looking round about upon them all, he said unto the man, Stretch forth thy hand. And he did so, and his hand was restored whole as the other. And they were filled with madness and communed with one another what they might do to Yahushua. So you have these wicked men, they're doing the same thing to the anointed now. They're holding it down for Yahushua. They're communing with each other how they might come against us for making others whole, making them full of Yahushua, full of the Spirit and the parables, and actually able to understand the deeper things. Proverbs 25 and 28. He that hath no rule over his spirit. Let me start with 27. Says, it is not good to eat much honey, for so to men search their own glory is not glory. So guys, they're not searching Jerusalem with candles. They're actually just searching for their own selves, their own glory, their own praise and worship. So that's why there's a lot of vainglory happening right now. It says he hath no rule over his own spirits, like a sea that is broken down and without walls. So the reason why guys are the way they are is because they have no rule over their spirit. And that's why they're just like this fence here. They're just like this fence, you know. They're building up a weak defense against the last enemy being death and sin. Psalm 62 and 1 says, Truly my soul waiteth upon God. From him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. See, not the camp, the Lord. I shall not be greatly moved. So we're not being moved. We're abounding and always abounding and unmovable in the work of the Lord. Set upon the rock, the church, Lord said, the gates of hell won't prevail against it. It says, how long will ye imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain, all of you. As a bowing wall shall ye be, and as a tottering fence. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. That's what they was doing to Yahushua. And that's what they're doing to us, because we're not greater than our master. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Salah. But see, we're in the time now where their mouth is falling upon themselves, where they can't really hide how they truly intentions. So what is in them is coming out of them now through their mouth. And it's heavy too, because this heavy thing happened to me earlier. You know, I'd asked this Edomite, I asked him, basically he asked me, he's like, how you doing? I was like, good. You know, small talk, you know, it's the small things. And I was like, good, how you? And then he goes, well, you really want to know? And then we was, you know, it was just us two in the room. And I goes, yeah. I was like, yeah, tell me. And then you know what he said, man? Man, Esau's profane, bro. He goes, and what did he say? He said, one point he was on point. He's like, man, people need to grow up. You know, I don't want to be people's parents. And I was like, I hear you on that, because, you know. But then the next thing he said was demonic. You know what he said after that? He goes, I don't even think I should refer it, but he's like, man, he's like, if that's the case, they should let me fuck their mom and mother. I was like, what? And I was like, man, I was like, man, I'm like, well, I was like, we'll keep that in the closet, man. So everything that's in the closet is coming out of the closet, you see? Psalm 62 and verse 4. Yeah, man. 2 Samuel 24 and Second Ezra 15 and verse 3 says, fear not the imaginations against thee, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. So you can't let them trouble you that are speaking against you, because their words don't hold no weight. You know, Yahushua is not backing them up, so their words are vanity. Their words are never going to be renowned. They're never going to be remembered. You know, they're not going to be written in the book of life. So everything that they're saying is worthlessness. And all those that are incensed against us shall be as nothing. Just like when we left Egypt, the Lord said we'll never get to see the Egyptians ever again. Same thing with Esau. Same thing with these wicked 2/3. You see? 2 Ezra 15 and verse 4 says, for all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So that's what we're up against. And the blind is going to lead the blind to death. So Lord, when you was edified, all praises, glory, honor, fear, Yahweh, Bashim, Yahweh Shai, Wahara Kakadash. But stay strong in the spirit, and our warfare is almost complete. And a Baba ball and destruction demise all the anti-Yahushas, all those that are against the word and against his men.